Hello, it's time for another sketchbook tour. Finally finished this one. This is not a fantasy sketchbook though. I started this one when I moved to France and I filled it with drawings and memories of the places I've been through. It goes from 2019 to 2022. Starting, I drew one of the cafes I went to, and of course I had to draw my croissant. These are drawings of the interior of the nearby church. The Church of Saint Louis. One of my favorite things to draw are sculptures in the classical European style. I drew the altar too. I drew how Notre Dame looked like at the time I moved. Lots of scaffolding. It still has a lot of scaffolding, but now they have added the spire back, so it's coming along, I guess. Slowly getting there. Here I tried adding some color with color pencils, but I didn't like the look, so I just went back to pencils. Actually, this entire sketchbook is just drawn in pencil. This castle-like building is a police station, I think. Drawing a cupola. I'm not sure what this building is, but it's beautiful, so I drew it. I really love European architecture and sculpture. This was in Fontainebleau, our tickets. This is the castle where Napoleon crowned himself Emperor of France, so you can see the throne in the ticket. There's a lot of Napoleonic era stuff, but the castle has been there longer. Previous kings of France used to live there, so there's other stuff to see. Of course I had to stick a map here. I don't know why, I just love maps, especially with drawings, so anywhere I visit, if there's a map, I'm taking it. The eagle at the entrance gates, a symbol of Napoleon, copied after the Romans and their empire, I believe. Details of the building, the bust of Napoleon. These are some details of decorations in the interior. Very interesting way to depict mermaids, 2 fish legs instead of 1 fish tail. Some Napoleonic bric-a-brac. One of the rooms. This is at the King Francis Gallery. It's like a really long hallway, all done in carved wood. I drew some of the details. The chapel inside. I copied the text in Latin, but I don't know Latin. This was such a weird statue monster that I had to draw it. This was a view in the courtyard. A relief of King Francis I, I believe. Tried to draw the throne of Napoleon here, but I wasn't very successful. French architecture is very detailed and sometimes it's just hard to depict. This is a view from the gardens. A very quick sketch of the fountain statue of Diane, the goddess of hunting. This was back in Paris at a place called the Jardin des Plantes. Every year in winter they do an open-air exposition of light sculptures, so this year they had the ocean as theme. This is also in Paris, in the 12th district, at a place called Palais de la Porte Dorée. I was visiting the aquarium. Fishes and starfish, our tickets, and I drew the exterior too. This is in Montmartre, a view of the church Sacré-Cœur, and a statue inside Sacré-Cœur. An old car parked outside. It was cute, so I drew it. This is in Champs-Élysées, the Renault store. It's a car dealership of Renault, but they also have a cafe and their Formula 1 racing cars. And a bunch of merch like hoodies and journals and stuff of that sort for the fans of the cars. A view of Paris and a terrible drawing of the Eiffel Tower, the poor thing. This was at the zoo. Our tickets. It's pretty big. I have the map here, of course. Let me show you how big it really is. There's a lot of room there. And I drew some of the animals from the park. Some lions, wolves of course, I love wolves, these flamingos, some tropical birds, and the jaguar, of course I love it too. The Arc de Triomphe, very sketchy. This is in a medieval city called Provins, so these are some drawings of the monuments and buildings in the town. This is still Provence, and here I was back in Paris, trying to draw the Eiffel Tower again. These are views from the rooftop of Galeries Lafayette. So I think this is the opera. This is Montmartre and Sacré-Cœur. These are some details of the Louvre, like some hallways, some statues, buildings that are around it, and entrances. This is also at the Louvre. That cupola again. and the Tour Saint-Jacques, which is near the city hall. This is in the French countryside, in an area called Burgundy, destroying some buildings. Cow, of course. More buildings. This is in a medieval town called Noyer. It's also located in Burgundy, and this was the entrance. Some of the buildings at the main place. Even though what I love to draw is fantasy drawings and illustrations, all this actually helps, because all those buildings are things that I could use in one of my fantasy illustrations. These are some details that I saw carved in the wood of some of the houses. It's very cute. Some of the houses and the entrance seen from the other side. I drew some of the towers that guarded the town back in the days, like this one as well. This is in another medieval city in Burgundy called Clamcy. I drew some of the buildings and the architectural details of the place. This is another medieval town. This one is Montreal, no relation to the Montreal in Canada, or Montreal like the English say in Canada. So I'm just drawing some of the architecture, some of the plants. This door that I found very interesting. The salamander is supposed to be the symbol of King Francis, I think, so I wonder. This was the church in Montreal, and I drew the details in the pillars. Some of the details inside the church. The writings of a tombstone from the 1500s and the statue of Jeanne d'Arc. This is another church in Burgundy, but I can't remember where. The name is Saint-Aubin-des-Champs. A different church in Burgundy called Mont-Sabot. Well, I don't know if that's the name of the church or just the name of the area. Some details of trees and old houses. This is in the town of Vézelay in Burgundy still. The city hall. The famous Basilica of Vézelay. The roses that grow in the wild, which are very common in Burgundy. And another view of the church. This is in Versailles, in the gardens of the Château de Versailles. These are some of the sculptures in the Dragon Fountain. More details of fountains. This is the roof of the chapel as seen from the outside. I only drew the roof, I didn't continue the rest. I tried drawing the altar, but there were so many details that I didn't capture, so it's a very unsuccessful drawing. These are details of the stained glass in the chapel. This is one of the statues that holds the candles to light the area inside Versailles. And some moldings on the walls. Some of the details in the courtyard. Another unsuccessful drawing, honestly. I just was not very good at capturing the details. Some more building details. Here I was drawing some of the statues in the garden. That's the Greek god Hermes, or Mercury as the Romans called him. This is the famous Apollo statue at the gardens. I didn't fit it all, of course. I only drew Apollo and one horse. This was a very underwhelming fountain called Fontaine du Dauphin. It's literally just this statue in the middle of a basin. Like, it's very small. It's like, why did I walk all this way just to see this teeny tiny thing? A detail of one of the other fountains. This is in Colmar, in Alsace. That's in the northeast of France, close to Germany. I was drawing some of the buildings. More buildings, trying to portray those typical European houses. Details carved in the wood of some of those houses. And a view of one of the churches. I think this is part of a church too, but I can't remember. Anyways, it looks cool, so I drew it. Some details of monsters in one of the doors in some house. Another house. I tried drawing the details in one of the entrances of the church. I remember the Christmas market was going on at the time, so it was a bit hard to see around. Here we are in Strasbourg, also in Alsace. This was like a random water fountain on the street, very elaborate and beautiful, so I drew it. This is one of the churches in the town, but it was closed, so we didn't get a chance to visit it. Some rooftop details in the area. Here I tried to draw the Cathédrale Notre-Dame de Strasbourg. It's so beautiful inside and out, and it's gigantic. I didn't succeed, I just sort of gave up on the drawing. Here's a map of Strasbourg, of course. This was like a creepy statue in some gardens, so of course I had to draw it. And this is inside the Cathédrale Notre-Dame de Strasbourg. Some of the details of the roof. In some of the arches, they painted these very beautiful flowery details. These are some details I saw all over the towns. This is one of the towers in Noyer, in Burgundy. Here I was back in Paris. You can see the Louvre pyramid and part of the actual Louvre in the back. This is the Arc de Triomphe of the Louvre. This is a detail of the rooftop of the Grand Magasin Printemps. Some rooftops on Paris, you could see the Pantheon in the distance, so I drew it. And in the same area you could see the towers of Notre Dame, so I drew those too. This is the chimera of the fountain in Place Saint-Michel. This is back in Noyer, Burgundy, and I really like the medieval signs, so I drew this one of the pottery shop. This is back in Paris in the Sainte-Chapelle. These were our tickets, and I drew the details of the columns inside. These are some more details inside. A statue of Saint Louis. This is also in Paris, and it's a detail of the church of Saint Eustache at Les Halles. These are some statues at Nation, part of the main statue at Place de la Nation. This is the clock tower at Gare de Lyon. And these statues are from the Luxembourg Gardens. They have a bunch of statues of the Queens of France in the main area of the gardens, so I wanted to draw some of them. It would be cool to turn them into a painting set. So for the last pages I just drew some of the queens or women regents of France. And I wrote the name here. Valentine de Milan, Duchesse d'Orléans. This is Sainte Clotilde, Queen of France. This is a random statue of a lion found in the same area of Luxembourg. Blanche de Castille, Queen of France. I really had fun drawing this. I love European sculptures and drawing characters, so it's a win-win. And for the last page I drew Sainte Geneviève. She is the patron saint of Paris, so I thought it would be fitting to end the sketchbook with her. Thanks for watching and have a great rest of your day.